Hi, I'm at Lancaster Quilt Week with Laura Trenbeath, who won the Best Longarm Machine Quilted Award. And it is a gorgeous quilt.
Thank you.
I fell in love with it as soon as I saw it. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So what design is this? Or is this original or?
The inner pattern, the inner star, comes from Deb Karasik. The name of the pattern is Audrey 3. And if you're looking for it, look under Quilt Mavens on the internet. And it was fun piece to put together. A little challenging in the corners here, but it was a fun piece.
And it's paper pieced.
It is completely paper pieced, yeah. And then the outer borders just built around it to build out the top.
Now, there's a lot going on in this quilt. That all still seems to go together, but there's a lot going on.
Uh-huh.
So the first thing that caught my eye were these nail heads.
Right,
I mean, they're
exactly.
all over this quilt, but they're amazing. You don't see that on quilts very often.
I
don't think I've ever seen it on a quilt.
I hadn't either, and I was really excited to find them as an embellishment for quilts. First thing I had to do was make sure that they were permanent.
Right, of course.
That took a little experimenting and some practice and determining how long to leave the heat. They're all heat set, by the way. How long to leave the heat for the different sizes. I don't know if you can tell that the sizes range from 6 millimeter to 4 down to 2 at various parts of the quilt. They come in a variety of different colors. I primarily use the brush gold on this quilt. You can see some of the red up here, and I've just tons and tons of colors for any embellishment that you would want to use them for. They're fantastic.
So besides the nail heads, you also did crystals, and they're put on the same way as the nail heads.
Exactly. They're all the heat set crystals. The majority of them are Swarovski. I think I said that right. It doesn't roll off your tongue.
No.
And and the rest are DMC.
What mistakes are on this quilt? Are there any hidden things?
No
gems?
No,
I mean,
heavens.
This jewel's kind of placed very well. So I was just curious.
You know, and I'm glad you asked, because I want to clear that up. If you guys look at this pattern online, you'll see, hey, Laura kind of cheated there, because these are supposed to be split diamonds, right? Well, I know my skills, and had I done split diamonds, that would have been 16 seams, and I know I would have messed that up, right? So I decided to go with 8, right, and just use the solid diamonds. Honest, I am capable of doing an 8-seamed intersection without messing it up. There is no mistake back there. However, because how busy the quilt is visually, when you step back, because I failed to make these split diamonds, I didn't have the visual activity in the center of the quilt that it really needed. Exactly. It was boring in the center of the quilt.
That's not good.
I know. I know. So that's why it looks like I've got a boo-boo hider right there, but I really don't. It's to give it some visual balance.
Now, I noticed that the fans in the corners of your red, are those part of the design or the pattern, or is that something you added?
It's something I added again for the visual balance. The first time it was on the wall and I stepped back and looked at it, again, it was too much red in these corners, because it used to be just all quilting right there. And that's when I stepped back and I said, need something. If you see, the inner diamonds are purple, carrying on to the purple on the spikes. So I just continued that theme with the purple and black, and then the teal on this side to tie in these.
But that's not fabric, that's
paint. That's paint. Yes, Pro Chemical, and I highly recommend Pro Chemical. Really easy to work with. It's the consistency of mayonnaise, so you don't worry about the drips or runs or anything like that. It stays on your brush until you get it where you want it on the quilt. It really is wonderful paint. Love working with it.
Nice. And so you did that, you painted several different places, like I see it in the braid and everything.
Exactly.
And all your borders are different styles? There's not all the same, is that
No,
correct?
exactly. I wanted to keep the eye moving. I've done enough quilts with, the ones you make for your nephew's birthday.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. Where you're just doing an all over pattern, you're getting it done. And I wanted this one to have the viewer just keep exploring and discovering things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every time you come here, you find something new to look at.
Oh, thanks.
So it's pretty neat. Now, did you change what kind of thread? Because I know there's different colors of thread. So
that was, again, I wanted the eye to keep moving and keep exploring things. If the pattern repeats, I at least wanted the visual contrast of different threads, different colors. So this has got a lot of variegated thread, a lot of metallics, very, very little standard straight cotton thread.
Is there a favorite thread that you like to use when you're quilting this kind of intricacy?
I love working with Superior. I love their threads. This quilt doesn't have it, so I mean, I know you're asking about this quilt. I used a lot of Fantastico on this one, and I recently tried their Magnifico line, and I think I'm gonna start shifting over there a little bit. It's a high sheen polyester, and I really like it. I like the way it quilts out. I don't have shredding issues. I didn't have shredding issues with any of this either. I like Superior threads. I think they're very easy to work with.
Great. And so what machine did you quilt this on?
I am a Gamble girl. Yeah, Gamble Vision 30-inch.
Nice. And so we talked about mistakes, but what was difficult about this quilt?
There were quite a few challenges, and these intersections were a bit of a booger. Getting everything square was honestly a bit of a challenge. Painting without drips or runs,
I bet.
that was a little tricky. Other than that, it was a piece of cake. Yeah, it really wasn't.
A piece of cake, right? And you have to do this in a weekend.
Exactly. Well, you know, we were talking about the nail heads. When you're determining how long to leave the heat on, the 6 millimeters, honestly, in order to get those with a permanent bond, I had to leave the heat on. And when I'm talking heat, I'm talking about either a small craft iron or one of the little wands that you use to put on the crystals. And I had to leave the heat on probably a good minute.
Oh wow!
For each one, it is. Oh yeah, the fear of scorching was real and present, but no problem. Got them on there.
So how long did it take you to do all of this?
You know, I wish that I had calculated the actual number of hours, because I think that would probably be more telling than saying 6 months, because it did take me 6 months, but I worked on it every day, 8 hours a day. It's not like I had a job and, you know, 5 kids and you know, that kind of thing that I had to take care of. I mean, this was my job.
Well,
so
that's always nice. Yeah. Now I see you have some gold piping and stuff. Now, was that put on intentionally?
I'm a long armor, so I don't like to break my thread unless I have to. Now, obviously, I was doing a lot of thread changes and whatnot, so that in and of itself had me go into the back of the machine to change out thread a lot. So I want to keep it going and have it continuous. I travel. In my ditches is where I do the majority of my traveling. So, and you can tell with all of this quilting, my ditches were getting pretty dang full.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I didn't think they looked attractive, so that's just my way of camouflaging the construction technique, if you will, is with the trim, and I think it really trims it. It finishes it up.
Definitely fishes it up greatly.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being here with us.
Oh, this was fun. I had a great time.
See your next endeavor.
Me too. I have no idea what it's going to be. No, it was great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.